Hey guys, Yankee here, and today I'm going to be doing my manga haul for July, August, and September of 2018. Uh, I got about 5 manga, I got 1 light novel, and I got a few other things I want to talk about. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the camera I'm using. Uh, Usually, I film these on my phone, uh, but I ran out of space on my phone, so instead I'm using this camera. I don't know how well it'll look, because it's pretty old. Uh, but if it looks good and it works okay, then I might stick with this. If not, I'll go back to using my phone. But let's get into this. First up, I got one new series, and that is Radiant. This is Volume One. This is a weird one. Well, not really weird, but this is a French series that then became popular in Japan, and then is now coming out over here. It actually has an anime starting in the next couple weeks. Uh, this first volume was okay. Uh, it was enough. It was good enough for me to pick up the next one. I want to pick up the next one when it comes out, uh, but it's all right. Uh, my biggest complaint is one of the characters right here. Alma, I believe, was her name, who is sort of Seth, the main character here, sort of mentor character. I don't know. I really liked her, but now it seems like she's just going to get left behind as the series continues, which sucks. But I'm definitely going to check out the second one because it was good. And one thing I want to point out is so often in like when Western people try and make manga, the art is very bad. Like they're trying really hard to replicate anime style, but the art in this is quite good, uh, and you can tell the artist definitely is pulling from anime and stuff, but he's got his own little style, and it's nice. But that's the only new series I got, and the rest are all volumes that I've been picking up for a while. So next up is Maga-tsuki, Volume 9 and 10 Omnibus. I made a separate video sort of complaining about this. I'll put a link to it in the description if I need to. Um, yeah, I really like this series. It's probably one of my favorites. I haven't read this yet because the final volume doesn't come out for so long. I'm just going to wait and read it then. But yeah, I really like this series. It's just sort of a shame what's happening with the English release. Next up, we have The Elder Sister Like One, Volume 2. That's a little confusing. The Elder Sister Like One, 2. I don't know, this series is still cute, but sort of it's a bit foreboding. I know it's based on H.P. Lovecraft stuff, which I have no knowledge of. I know it's horror, so I assume eventually we might get something like that. Like, I don't know if it'll just go real dark and have one of the characters die or something. I don't know. But it's enjoyable so far. Next up, we got d-frag, Volume 12. Finally, it's been a year since the last volume, and I think the volumes in Japan come out a year at a time too, but we're like a year behind. So Volume 13 is already out in Japan, and then we just got this one. But this series is great. This is the series that sort of got me back into buying manga. The first 4 I watched the anime, bought the first 4 volumes of this, and then I've just been into it for a while. But yeah, really silly this series is, which I love. I love silly, sort of dumb things, and this is a great one. And my last manga I got is Holy Corpse Rising, Volume 5. Uh, this is a series I don't really see people talk about. It's a harem series, sort of. Oh boy, I'm not going to guess the time frame right. I'm never good with dates, so I want to say like 1600s Rome. Main character is a Catholic monk who sort of, by accident or possibly through her planning, ends up married to a witch. and then they go on an adventure. This volume, though, we sort of got some stuff that I would have expected to be sort of at the end. So I feel like this series might be getting close to ending. Uh, I don't know, maybe a couple more volumes, 2, 3, and I could see it end. Because at the end of this volume, we're back at where we started. We're both back at, like, the church, I guess, where the series began. So I really feel like this is going to be wrapping up soon, which, a bit unfortunate because I really enjoy this series. But it's always nice to have series sort of be tight, right? Tell the story they want to tell and get out. Don't stretch it out too long. I just hope that the author can wrap it up well, because I've really enjoyed it. And that's the last manga I got. Next up, we got a light novel. This is also technically a new series. That's True Tenchi Muyo Volume 1. This is Dry. These are spin-off novels to the Tenchi Muyo OVA series. That sort of came out in the time between OVA 2 ending and OVA 3 starting, where Kajishima just couldn't get anyone to make more OVAs, so he just sort of went off and made these side story volumes. This first one is about Azusa and sort of him, about his whole life, really. It's not even really like a whole novel. It's like a series of short stories that they sort of stitched together to make it feel like a one story. Does that make sense? I hope so. Because we see like his childhood, and it ends with him. Well, it doesn't end with him. It starts with him as like a young man, but we see sort of him as a child, and sort of him dealing with Seto and stuff like that. And it's really good. And we also get, at the very beginning, we get a little bit of Tenchi and all of his girls, all the girls in his harem. And it's nice, and it sort of fills in some gaps that were left between OVA 2 and OVA 3, because at the end of OVA 2 it ends with Azusa coming back to Earth with another fiancé candidate for Ayaka, and then that was just never followed up on in OVA 3. That's because it's dealt with here. And I really like this. Azusa, he was okay in OVA 2, but OVA 4 and this have made him probably one of my favorite characters in the series. And that's all the light novels I got. Next up, I got an art book, I guess, and that is the Conception Visual Fan Book. Now, I've never played the first game, which is what this is for. This is the art of the first game. I have played the second. I bought it when it came out, played about half of it, and then sort of dropped it. But then last year I picked it up because I don't know if you know this, but I like harem series. Pretty much everything I buy is harem stuff. But I especially like harem endings, right? I like all the characters that I've sort of grown to like getting a good ending at the end. And I heard the second game had a harem ending option, so I decided to play it, and I don't know why, just sort of at the right time, right place kind of game, where I put 100 hours into it, and I really enjoyed it. And so Conception, the original Conception, back in May, I think, they announced that there was going to be an anime adaptation. And that sort of got me interested, because I obviously can't. The first one never came out here, so I can't play it. And so I was kind of excited. And then I had seen pictures from this book online, and I was just on eBay one day, and I looked it up, and I saw it there. It was like $40, which is kind of expensive. But again, I'd only seen like a few shitty photos of the inside of the book, not even full pages, just like crops. So I bought it, and I'm glad I did, because it's now going for around $120 on eBay. So I'm glad I got this when I did. The art, maybe people will recognize it. It's the same artist that does the illustrations for the ReZero light novel series. And yeah, they also announced just a couple weeks ago that the first game is getting a port to PS4, which is unfortunate for me because I don't have a PS4, but I'm gonna I want to hope that maybe it'll get a Switch port, and if not, if it comes out here, we don't even know if it's getting an English release. But if it does, maybe I'll borrow a PS4 from someone and play it. But yeah. Now, this next thing really pissed me off. All right, I was at Home Depot, heading to the checkout, and sort of by the checkouts they got like magazines and stuff, like you would see at like a Walmart or whatever. And they had this one, Hot Wheels. It's the 50th anniversary, I guess, and they put out a magazine. I'm like, oh, that's neat. I liked Hot Wheels well enough as a kid. I'll pick it up, check it out. I just grab it. We're doing the self checkout, so I buzz it in. $12.99. I don't know when magazines became so expensive. I thought this would be like $5. This was $13. That's more than I pay for the manga I buy. Like a Seven Seas volume, which I think are priced at like $13. $12.99. I buy them for like $10. Where I buy all my manga, it's usually marked down quite a bit, like usually $3 to $4 off. So this really pissed me off, and I was at the self-checkout thing, so I didn't really know how to get it off, so I just bought it instead of asking someone. But yeah, sort of pissed me off, but it's neat, I guess, if you like Hot Wheels. It talks about like the history of Hot Wheels. Here's some kids playing with Hot Wheels. We got pictures of some. It's neat, but expensive. And lastly, I got a couple games. So we'll start with this one. I got Battle Chasers Night War for the Nintendo Switch. You can't really see that so good. I should really be paying attention to how things look on the camera. There we go, you can see that. Well, first off, I want to say the cover art sucks. They couldn't really... The Switch has weird shaped boxes, but they really couldn't do anything to get the art to look good, so they just sort of put black on the top and bottom. This is an RPG. I don't really know what to say of it. It's sort of standard, not really anything too special. It does have a lot of voice options, which I like, because wasn't really a fan of the English voices, but it has some, like, I think it had French ones, it had Japanese ones, which I'm sort of using because the English voices were just real bad. And I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know if the acting is good or bad. But yeah, this game's okay. I didn't really know much about Battle Chasers when I bought it. It just looked neat. But it sort of starts where everyone, because this was originally a comic, so it starts off with the characters sort of, it felt like they were in the middle of like the story, and throughout the game they're making references to things that happened. So I'm like, okay, I'll go online, I'll read the comic, get caught up on what's going on. I can't remember how many issues it was, like 10 maybe. And then it just stops. It doesn't... I assumed that it would end where the game starts or something like that. No. It just ends in the middle, and it doesn't lead into this at all. And this doesn't really explain what happened at the end of that either, so it's a mess. The game's okay. I haven't finished it yet. I think there's 8 dungeons in it, and I've just finished the 5th one. But I've enjoyed it. Next up, we have Saints Row: Get Out of Hell. Here, look at that incredible cover from GameStop. I hate this, but what are you gonna do? I'm a Saints Row fan. I got the 3rd one from a cousin of mine, and I really liked it. Then I went back and bought the 2nd one, and really liked that. I really love that game. And I was real excited about the 4th one, even though it sounded a bit, you go from gang stuff to now you're the president fighting aliens. It was silly, but the 3rd game was silly, so I was kind of excited for it. Didn't really care for the 4th game, and so when this came out, I didn't really care. I just ignored it. But it was like $7. I decided to check it out, and it's not very good. Story, there's none of it. It's pretty much just, if you've played Saints Row, all the little activities around the map. That's pretty much all it is new activities. It's the same map from 3 and 4, changed a little bit, changed way better than in 4. 4, the map is pretty much exactly the same. But yeah, not very good. The only thing I really liked about it was flying. Flying through hell was a lot of fun. But game as a whole, not very great. And here we go. Last game, another PS3 game. This one was only $3. Alpha Protocol. I sort of got this on a whim because it was $3. I haven't played much. I played through the first mission, which was in Saudi Arabia, because this is a spy game. You play a spy. Well, it says right here, espionage RPG. You play a spy, and then I'm trying to remember. It was a while ago. Things go down, and then you sort of run. It's like if you've ever seen the show Burn Notice, it's kind of like that, where you're a spy and then sort of chased out of the government branch you were working for, and then you're just sort of off to do your own thing. It's okay. I'll probably play more, probably, but who knows? It was only $3, so even if I don't, I got a couple hours out of it, and it was fun enough. All right, and that's gonna do it for what is it? July, August, and September. Oh boy, these next few months, I don't know how much I'm going to be getting because I'm kind of short on cash, but I always end up spending more at holiday season, so we'll see. But that's going to do it for this video. I'll see you in a few months for the next one. See you guys then.